So in this video, it's going to be a 6-slot unit formula making. I will state this, there will be 2 parts to this. You can look in the description for the Japanese side of things because someone requested this. I tried to figure out if it was for Japan or North America, they didn't say, so I'm doing both. Now, I do have an opinion about the North America side of things, the global side of things. This is just my opinion. If you want to do whatever because you have the pieces and you want to fix smart and do it cheap, then go ahead and do so. I'm not going to stop you, I'll give you something to work with. But if you are playing on Japanese PSO2, there are a lot of things. And yeah, I am going to show some of the Japanese stuff. You might not know some of the names over there when you look at those certain formulas. It's your call if you want to see those formulas as well, just because, you know, it's in reference to the future and what you can do or what you can aim for later. But yeah, one of my opinions about, like, you going for a 6-slot in North America, hopefully you do it cheap. Like, Affix smart with that. Like, if you got the pieces to do it, then go ahead and do so. If you have a drop that's at 6-slot, then yeah, you can go for it. Like, affix it. But once again, do it cheap. I wouldn't go out of my way to spend so much on the market, especially with the fact that episode 5 is coming around with all these other abilities that you may want to try to go for. But that's just me. Do whatever you want to do. I already discussed this in like several other videos. Alright, so I'm using the North America PSO2 simulator for this. So let's say you have a bunch of junk on your 6-slot. Nothing good whatsoever. Now, unlike the damn weapons where you can use the SAF, you guys don't have SAFs yet for, what is it, units, because it's on the 13 star. I'm scratching my head because I'm really trying to figure out what sort of abilities you can go for. So you could do something like this. No, I don't want to try to transfer everything, god damn it. I think some people refer to Yamato. But let's say you got like 3 dudes somewhere. And maybe you got like, let's say quartz. Now, some of these pieces you might need to manipulate, and by manipulate, I mean you gotta have to toy around with it. Actually, instead of that, let me just go with 3 up here, and then do this. That's only like 4 abilities. I can right click on this and then do... No, wait. Not what I want. Yeah, that's only 4 abilities though. And if you were trying to emphasize on melee... Yeah, there's that spirit, but if you want to increase that, you could play around with these factors. Especially if you got a lot of factors, you might want to do something like that. Maybe not that many spirits. A couple of them. Maybe have fever as well instead of trying to get modulators, because the fever is already ones that can be easily manipulated into this. Actually, since you might want to do something like this as well. Too many fevers is a fever overload, so let me get rid of that, let me get rid of that. And then it's going to be, what, Acto Diesel, Might 4, Spirit 4, Deuce, Arcs, Max. Then you can use a pop item. You guys might... I think someone mentioned that you guys got Elegant already, so... Now, you can't swap that pop item with whatever you got, but this thing is going to give you a good whopping plus 155 melee power. Range is plus 35, technique power plus 35, HP plus 20, PP plus 13. Once again, I would advise you not to, but if you got the pieces to do all this sort of manipulation and go for these sort of fixes, you can. But yeah, I mean, also shit, hold up. I forgot to do something, which is to also add this. Alright, that might is wrong. What the hell did I mess up on? Let's say you use a 40. I bet I don't have another might somewhere in my formula. Yeah, let me move that instead. That percent should change now. Yeah, it's workable. So you got like ActD, so let's go with Marks Max, Deuce Factor. Let's pop let's go with Noble just in case. Noble, Spirits, and then a Mic 4, use a 40. You got something like that, all 100%. Now, let's say... Yeah, you can easily toy around with this base fodder piece too, depending on... I don't know how common 6 slots, 7 slots, 8 slot units are over there. A lot of guys told me that it's kind of rare to see it at those high numbers. So, this is giving me a slight headache because I'm really trying to figure out what you guys could go for. You don't have most of these fevers, so if there's a particular fever that will interest you, it's like, did you guys go through that season? Obviously, you guys didn't go through winter yet, so you can't get like the Saint Fever one, which is like winter, Christmas. What else? Kind of wish that they didn't have these things yet, just because it does add to the confusion. I don't know if you guys even have most of these damn receptors. I highly doubt it. Receptors, Slayers, Fevers, Souls. Most of these souls are up to date until you start out these X ones. Historia and Fabula aren't even in the game yet. You got status FX, you got resistance, you got SAFs. You don't have SAFs on units because you don't have 13 stars yet. You don't even have the crack 5 ability. You got Veteran Resolve, but I wouldn't really... Like, most of these affixes aren't going to show you guys how to go about with Veteran Resolve stuff. The only time I would do it is if you talk about it and you want me to make a video talking about it. But, yeah, I would not advise you guys to use a Veteran Resolve to do final fixes right now. Save that for later. If you want to do it because it's the moment, it is the present, you want to do it, that's on you. But I'm not going to recommend it in this formula sheet. Okay, you guys got Doombreak, and I think you guys can make Doombreak 3s. Even with Doombreak, it's kind of question. You guys can get it easily, though, from the looks of it. Oh, fuck, I just remembered. Listers are actually a thing in episode 5, too. I should mention that as well. I knew I left one ability group out. It's the lesser fuckers. Yeah, anyways. I guess I could talk about Doombreaks. Now, Doombreaks, this ultimately falls down on if you want to gamble or not. Because to get the highest chance to get a Doombreak 3, you need 5 copies somewhere in your formula. So you got to manipulate this heavily. Let's say you get to put this on that piece instead. You get to take out a couple of these. And then you'll see that with 5 of these somewhere in your formula, it gives you a good whopping... It's supposed to be 50, but plus 10 because of boost week. That's 60%. Use a 40. You'll get it to 100. And then, yeah, these pieces, though, like, staring at them, they're giving me a headache. Because this is where you'll manipulate a lot unless you do something really easy on you. Alright, so... If it's on your melee damage again, you could just do... Oh, Ali's is fucking Ares. I was confused too while I was staring at that. I was like, huh, what is that? Yeah, that's Spirit 4. Do I really want that around? Yeah, that's pushing it. We might not want that. So you get something like this instead. I think the only difference is I got rid of that spirit and gave you guys Doombreak 3 instead. This thing would give you a lot in terms of attack and a bit more PP. No, this apparently gives you a lot. Oh yeah, the reason why is because it's a spirit, which focus solely on PP. But yeah, this does boost up your damage along with your R&T. But this is on you. Like if this is on a unit piece, if you farmed a bunch, do whatever. But like looking at these fodder pieces in themselves, like this one's manageable. This one is something you can easily turn around with, especially if you got multiple copies. And Arc Fevers, they're not hard to play around with, slap on. Also note that just to give you guys a upslotting course again, you're dealing with like you trying to get to a 6 slot. So like if you decide to upslot a Gambo, which is utterly fine because I do a bunch of that myself, with a 10%, I think the highest you can go for, it might be at 100 if you try to push this. Yeah, with that 10%, it's supposed to be 55, but 10% added to that 65%. You could use a 30, gamble with 95s, but this is on you. If you have a bunch of X cubes and stuff and you don't mind spending a bunch of 40s to try to do this, then yeah. But that's the concept that you're getting with this thing. You could technically gamble some of these pieces to try to go for that sort of percent. Like if I want to, if I focus on fodder 5 in a way, let me just take this for example, and let me start adding like quartz and mites, and I decide to full screen that. No, get out of that shit. I wouldn't really need a lot of mite 3s. Once again, this falls ultimately on what you're doing. Actually, since we're not using spirits in this formula, I can ignore it. All I would need would be like quartz souls. I would want 3 somewhere in my formula. Get rid of one of these, right click, fill with trash. Then I want to try to upslot this and use a 30% and something manageable. Now the question is if that quartz soul is gonna work, and that failed. That first time it failed, and there's a couple other times where it failed. Most of the times though, it's like what, 22 out of 30. That's not a good percent. That's like 58% roughly around that it succeeds / fail. So yeah, it depends on how you make these particular fodder pieces, and that's it. Like if you want me to expand more on this 6 slot for global PSO2 formula, let me know. But this falls ultimately on can you afford it, and yeah, like these are most of the abilities you could try to tour with, because you get lesser abilities later, you get Descendant's abilities later, you get Reverie abilities later. Like these are the things you could try to aim for. Obviously, you could go for Astral Soul and Ether Factor, but problem is those are finalized mid-grade abilities, and even though I talk about how you can try to get them later on, without the presence of Unit Factor and OSO Receptor, it's going to be hard for you to try to make combos with them. And then not only that, if you decide to put something like a Veteran Resolve with it, you're going to have to make another Veteran Resolve later to get that to transfer over, because there's no sort of receptor to try to get the Veteran Resolve to transfer easily, or the Doombreak. You're going to need multiple Doombreak 3s to try to get it to transfer easily to whatever other new piece that you have. So you're doing a bunch of manipulation later. Like I'll keep it simple and go with something like this affix over here. Like, yes, you do need to manipulate it a bit, but it depends on how much you're farming, how much pieces you got, how many slots you got. So yeah, that's it for the NA side of things. I will have this formulas in the description. If you want me to, once again, expand on this, then yeah, you can just let me know in the comments. I'll see what I can do. Now, the Japanese side of things. I'm going to use the Japanese Affix simulator for this, and you can see this one in the description later. Alright, so this one's going to be a lot, because there's so many options you can go for. Now, I'm going to be talking about presence of SAFs, and then also the S-class abilities. Depending on what the unit piece it is, that will also depend on what sort of S-class ability you can get. So, I am most likely, for this demonstration, going to emphasize on, like, the what is it? Arm piece, which is going to be a S7. And let's say you're able to get your hands on like an attack up 2, which is going to emphasize on all the different attacks. This will give you... Actually, no, that's the wrong one. That's not attack up 2. It's this one right here. It's going to do plus 45 to your R, S, and T, aka your melee, range, and your tech, or your cast. And let's make this into a 6 slot. Now, there are a lot of ways to go about making a 6 slot depending on like certain circumstances. So, if I were to have this on a Liberate, for example, and get it to what, let's say if this is an arm piece, it's going to be range. So I'm going to be focused on the range power in this formula. Where's SAFs? I know you are here. Mother... That's a special effect. That's not what I wanted. I know you guys have like the grade 6. Where the bloody hell are you? I'm either blind right now or I'm not really paying attention. Or I'm going to La La Land. Oh, I love how they have like a catalyst section by itself. Wait, what? Did they just update this on me? I feel like they just updated this motherfucker on me. I feel like they did. Oh wait, no. The reason why they changed it now is because I will have to make that in its separate video. You can now make grade 6. That annoys me. Yeah, let me quickly see how it works. Or maybe they just swapped it around. I don't know. Anyways, blah, 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 blah. Being distracted. Alright, so let's say this is a Liberate unit. So it has a SAF, especially if it's on an arm piece. So I can easily get it to shoot 6. So if I want to emphasize on a bunch of R-Atk, I'm going to need certain pieces. So let me go to a glare. This is cheap affixes. It's not going to be emphasizing on like mana, rev, astra, so at the factor and stuff. If you want me to talk about those, let me know in the comments. So I could go for Metra or Shiva, I think. Now the thing about Shiva is that she does not emphasize on S. Verena and Metra can emphasize on S. You could go for Origin Glare as well, but to note that the defense does decrease. But the attack does increase to 30, so you got 30 SRT, but you get a bit of defense, which is SRT, but it's a plus 10. Your HP and PP stays the same. So since we're focused more on R-Atk though, we will go with Metra. For the glares, you just need 2 of them instead of 3 to get the maximum percent. Then, if we get to go with, once again, cheap affixes, if you want a Reverie, guess what? You get to do that. Then, you could go for a certain unit piece that has a sentence ability. Now, I wouldn't really go for this one, but that's just my opinion. Since I'm already making this as I don't know if they got like a sentence trio as a SAF, so let me do that. And then also, there's a trick with a certain unit piece over here where you can get Doom Breaks 2s if you get it to plus 10. So if I did that sort of trick and I want to try to get Doom Break, then I could do something like this. Then what else? I need a soul. Now, there's going to be a lot of manipulation with this thing. No. Let's go with... Let's do something like that instead. Let me configure this. And you can get soul receptors. I don't know how much it costs as a 6 slot. But you can do this, and then if I decide to... Alright, that's overkill. So let me copy this at the least. Let me get rid of that. So let's say you do not go for a Doom Break. Yeah, let's say you don't go for a Doom Break and you decide to use certain unit pieces. So you can... It'd be easier if this was over here instead. And it'd be easier if this was... Metroglare. It's not that bad with Metroglare. You could also try to farm for her. Yeah, something like this for a cheap one. So if I said fill with trash, S-class ability, Apprentice, Apergina, Metra, Sentence, Shoot, boom. I got like an affix like this. Note that there will be a 15% on out end, so I'm gonna have that active and then use just a 40% easy 100 for all these abilities. You get rough around. Note that the S-class ability does not count towards these red numbers, so you had to add a plus 45. But with most of these abilities, it is gonna give me a good plus 175, but once again add plus 45, so it's gonna be quick math. It's gonna be 220 R-Atk, 220 R-Atk with a good chunk of defense, a bit of defense, and then like plus 10 HP, plus 5 PP. So it's not that bad. Now if I have a pop item, especially if I want to go for maybe what is it, a grace ability. So let's say instead of going for shoot, I would want what is it? Let's say an R-Atk. So I get something like that. Once again, the attack, the 45 that you get from the S-Atk up to, that's not added in, so add plus 45, it's gonna be 250. R-Atk, you get plus 90 S-Atk, plus 60 in T, plus 20 in SRT, plus 10 in HP, and plus 6 in PP. And if you got timed abilities as well, especially if it's going to emphasize on the R-Atk, you can do plus 70, it's going to be plus 320. So yeah, this is one of the effects. The other effects that you could try to go for would be something like this, although I would advise you not to try to push that high. Let's say instead of a shoot 6, you get something like this instead. It's going to be giving you, it's more of an all-rounder in a sense, because yeah, it's gonna be 120 in S-Atk, R-Atk is gonna be 160, T's 90, your defense is at plus 20 at SRT, plus 9 PP, that's a lot more, and then plus 10 HP, that's gonna be a whopping 205 in R-Atk. Now, let's say you don't want the Apergina Reverie, but you would want to try to get some the Grace or Elegant. I think it's Grace. Is it? I don't remember. The grade 3 for the R-Atk one. If you want to do the Grand, then you can, but I would do it with like something a bit better than this. In a sense, whatever pop item you want to use. If you Let's say you want to go with a Grand instead of a Grace. So Grand Shoot. If you use this, guess what? That's plus 180, but once again, add 45 to that, so it's going to be 225. You get a lot of PP though, plus 15. A good chunk of HP is plus 40. Everything else is 20. What else? What else? You could go for lesser abilities. I'm not a big fan of them. With the lesser abilities, there is a way to actually go and get Eve, shoot, and power and stuff. Trying to figure out what else you could go for. Like, you could go for a Mana Rev instead, just because Mana Rev would do a lot more in terms of your attack. So... it is a tad cheap to try to go about getting a Man Rev. Or like, try to get a Man Rev, because all of the unit pieces aren't as expensive even at the higher slots, just because Persona Emergency Quest is still a thing. He's dropping a lot of his Reveries still, so you can aim for this, which then will give you a higher attack. Especially if I were to, like, emphasize it heavily. So let's say... Since we're going more on R-Atk, I might as well get the R-Atk too for the arm piece, which is down here. We get swap that out, so you can get more. You can get at least another additional +5. So we get to go with that. We get to go with Apprentice. So if you want to get the Blank Soul instead, you can. There's other souls as well that you could go for in episode 5. Which is pretty much the X souls. You got X Till Soul, which is gonna give you... Note that the X Till Soul does boost up on your defense, HP, and PP. You might want to go for that, especially if you do go for Glare, just because it will stack. I think that when it comes to this sort of thing, you would want to stack up on it. Or you could just have a Soul Receptor that can easily tackle that issue for you, which I have over here. Now, Ash staring at that, that's not possible. That thing is not possible, so you cannot put an Omega Reverie on that Soul Receptor. 6, 7, that's 7. You don't need to add a 7 slot. We're trying to work with 6 slot. Actually, no, the reason why it's a 7 slot is because of the SAF. Keep on forgetting about that. SAFs do not count. They do not count as a natural thing, unless you put it in there. Yeah, 3 Doom Breaks might be something. Alright, so you got R-Atk, you got Apprentice, you got Doom Break 3, you got Mana Rev, Metra, and I think... Actually, no, not Apprentice, so X Till Soul. And then if you really want to push this, then you can also put a Grand Shoot in there. Note, once again, this is for the Japanese PSO2. And then you can get something like this. Your R-Attack's gonna be 250, but it can go to 320 if you use a +70. It is gonna give you a shit ton of HP and PP though, and you can see that the defense is at 40. But yeah, it's a bit more expensive because that Grand Shoot is the highest of its type for now. And then yeah, you getting Mana Reverie, that's gonna take a bit of manipulation, especially on these pieces, because you're gambling with this. Instead of a Doom Break 3, let's say you want to play it safe and get a Shoot instead, because you're trying to emphasize on attack a lot more than like PP and stuff, so you would need to tamper around with that, or at least get rid of these and then just fill it up with some stuff, and it looks a lot easier to deal with. Bit of manipulation is needed, but it's not like it's gonna hurt you. And I should have done this on a fucking different thing. Or should I copy and paste this so you guys can keep that original formula with the Doom Break 3 one? I'll get back to fixing that one, but let's say you want something like this, and then... Actually, no Sentence Shoot. You could ignore that Sentence Shoot. You can do this. Nope, not that. I skimmed over it. Let's go with the Grand Shoot one instead. And you can see that it's only a good 15 increase, so 215 plus 50 is 265 plus 70 is 335 R-Atk. And then you can see down there, HP is at 80, PP is at plus 13, SRT defense is at plus 40. I already made a formula talking about how to get a 420 unit piece. It does go up to 8 slots, though. It used up all 8 slots to get to 420. If you want to see that formula, look in the description above my head for that one. And since I said I was going to correct this one, let me go back to the one that had Doom Break on it. This one's a bit of a headache though, because I'm doing it with like just 3 of them. And I'm gambling. I feel like I did something wrong. Oh wait, no, I think I did some. I think it was okay. I was just not paying attention. Oh wait, no, instead of that, it was like this. And you're gambling with that Doom Break 3. You can't get it to at least an 85 or a 95 with a 40 or a 40% or 45%. But yeah, that is it for this video. It's like 30 minutes long already. If you want to toy around with these formulas, if you want me to do more formulas depending on what you're aiming for, let me know. I am going to do a couple weapon affixes. Like the North American one, I can't. Like, there are other things I could do, but the problem is, like, I'm already using most of the things that you guys can go for, like a pop item. It's either going to be noble, or it's an offense one, or it's going to be an elegant one, if you guys have that. But then next is, like, the basic stat enhancement one, like a might, or a power, might, precision, or casting. Then you got a factor ability already in there, you got a soul in there, then you got max, or you're going to go for modulator. You can try to put a Doom Break in there, but that's on you. You do whatever you want with these formulas. Oh yeah, that was just to emphasize on like how to get to a 6 slot, and this one was talking about how to manipulate this fodder piece over here. It's up to you. It's up to you to figure out what to do with that North America one. I wouldn't really push for a 6 slot, especially with the fact that like you're getting episode 5, which will start to introduce better 12 stars than what you guys have. Especially the Lightstream, the Scaval, Cleasis, Elvidal might be named differently over there. Then you also got the they did introduce yeah, they did introduce Novas in episode 5 too. But I think it was a bit later. Anyways, yeah, this is it for NA, and then there's the Japanese one where I have a bunch of different stuff that you can go for. But it ultimately falls down on what you're doing. Yes, you'll see a glare here and there, but toy around with it as you see fit. I'll have the formula links in the description. Thank you guys for watching. Any question, comment, concerns, put it down below. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.